My channel, my dear family and friends. Sorry about that false start. I needed to reboot my computer. Now everything is seems to be acting in a more normal way. Let me get back to the chat. I appreciate your patience and courage and perseverance, and we're hopefully able to communicate again. I was saying that yesterday, I was kind of reacting to what I saw as points of information, as people trying to figure out in a sort of methodical, intellectual, uh, removed from. Oh yeah, okay. Thank you, Andrew D. Smith. Yeah, okay, we're back. We're back. That people were interpreting, were spending their time in trying to find out the truth. Okay, we're not dealing with that level of reality, in my opinion. But yesterday, it gave me an opportunity to really explain and explore the idea that you are perfectly capable at any point of leaving the matrix, of like paying taxes. Why would anybody pay taxes? Trump has already said 1,000 times, President Trump, there is going to be no IRS. There is no, in my opinion, there is no IRS. Why would anybody pay taxes? Why would anybody pay insurance knowing that it's all mostly a scam? Why would anybody uh, pay their credit cards, knowing that this usury, this interest rate, all this stuff? That was really, yes, last night's focus, and it was an unusual kind of thing because I was just frustrated with 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 the inability of folks, as I understand it, to look at the bigger picture. Today, Q put out a post on, I can't do it on, I can't. Okay, that's that. So that's, it did it again. I don't know why. I can't seem to. So
You can't broadcast. I don't know.
maybe I can't broadcast tonight. Well, anyway, my platform, the Restream, seems to be glitching on me.
Or you just have to do Rumble Studio.
Could do Rumble Studio. What a drag. All right. Rumble Studio. With Rumble Studio, I can't get on uh, YouTube.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to run it. I mean, are you seeing it with you're seeing it? It looks normal to you, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to go through it. I won't be able to share anything, but it's still good there. Okay, I for some reason Rumble Studio is glitching on me tonight. Not Rumble Studio, Restream is glitching on me. Whatever. It could be an attack. We're seeing you on the tube. Okay, so good. So I don't know if I can't really respond. I won't be able to respond to things and that sort of thing. And I won't be able to show you the things that I've collected on X that I want to show you. But I can tell you what I'm seeing. So Q put out a post, the Delta today, December 3rd, that says the Great Awakening. In my opinion, the tenure, not the tenor, the vibrational frequency of the world today is completely different.
You're not live on Rumble or YouTube.
Yeah, or YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm showing up here that I'm on YouTube. I don't know what happened. Should I? It's really not.
You're on Rumble.
So I'm on Rumble.
On her end.
But it's really not fun. But not YouTube. I think I'm on YouTube as well.
I don't know.
But it doesn't show me on Rumble.
You are on Rumble.
I am on Rumble. Okay. I'm just going to talk. I'm not going to be able to share anything. I'm not going to be able to show you anything. But this really sucks. Should I try it again? I mean, I shut down my computer. I guess 3 is a charm. I'm going to try it again. I can't even shut down. I have to shut down my whole computer. It's probably just some kind of it could be an attack on my channel, whatever. I'm just going to communicate the best I can. I won't be able to show you anything. I won't be able to interact in some ways. Don't see you on Rumble. Okay, you're good on YouTube.
You're on Rumble.
I'm on Rumble. Okay, I'm just going to talk. I won't be able to
Well,
bring
why
anything
not
up
do it on Rumble?
because
Studio.
it doesn't share with YouTube. It's too convoluted. Just keep on going. Exactly right. Okay, so it's December 3rd. Q puts out a post, The Great Awakening. In my opinion, the flow of information from yesterday today has completely been uplifted to a whole nother level. And the way and the things that I'm reading are enlightening to me. Like I'm finding that I'm looking at things complete in a completely different light based on the information that I've deciphered in this last day. Not that I haven't really spent, I didn't have a chance to really spend a lot of time doing research, but it seems I was just bowled over by the strength of the information that's coming forth. It just seems completely different to me. So let me explain what I mean by that. Yesterday, I was very frustrated about people looking at, well, like this is this, little points of information. Today, there was some information that came to me that seems completely that that expands my understanding of the situation. One thing was that I'm getting a lot of information from this war correspondent. His name is Guardian Daniel. That Guardian Daniel was putting out a thing about the movie. For some reason, and this is a misunderstanding on my part, I thought the movie was, and it is, I know it is, but the movie was like the military putting out information. But what I'm understanding from the posts that I read today is no, it's not that at all. The movie is Biden being inaugurated, CNN putting out CNN and MSNBC and all these other stations putting out the same talking points. That's the movie. The I mean, this is a different way of looking at things because I think both exist at the same time. There is this aspect of the deep state has this narrative, has this story, has this matrix that it produces, and it's all interlocked. It's all interrelated. Just like yesterday, I was talking about unity consciousness on our part, that we break through this idea of I have my financial things and I have my you know I things that I do during the day. I have what I eat. I have LifeWave. I have all these things. I won't be able to share the contact information on LifeWave, but hopefully you will reach out to Dr. Stacy, and there's information in other videos, and get some LifeWave products. That's an aside. And also, I was watching David Schmidt, the creator, and he's talking about the gematria, that he found patterns within lobster DNA because lobsters don't age. And he found the same pattern in Genesis, and he's applying it to this technology. This is amazing. He's using light technology, but that's the side point. So what am I seeing? Okay, so Daniel R is reminding us that the movie is their movie, that the Matrix has this creation, that all points are playing this movie, right? And in my kind of limited way of thinking, let's say well, let's go back to D5 of the in like 2020, I guess, where the funeral of George Bush, and they got the envelopes, and we were all expecting all the bad guys to get arrested. And that's the movie that we're watching, right? We're watching about the Russia hoax, and we're watching all these things, and Q is kind of like encouraging us to think differently. There are a lot of posts about Q today, a lot of things about Q, very interesting. But Okay, so they're producing this movie, and the bad guys want have stories that they on a daily basis that they want you to focus on. And if you've been seeing any of these movies like Wag the Dog, like is it Wag the Dog? Yeah.
Hmm.
Wag the Dog. You could see they are totally manipulating our minds. This is MK Ultra. They are convincing us that you have to pay your taxes or you're going to jail. You know, you have to have insurance or you're going to die. You know, I mean, or you have to take this vaccination. You have to have your kids get vaccinated because if they don't, then they're going to be crippled for life. All these kinds of things, and it's all interrelated. Just as I was saying last night, that in when I'm in the flow, I have a kind of a unity consciousness, and I could be fixing this, I could be fixing my, god forbid, my hot water heater, and at the same time putting in a window, and at the same time thinking about the news, and it's all one. It all makes sense to me. Unified. Well, the bad guys also have this kind of unification. So now the stories are coming out that not only is Venezuela responsible for narco terrorism, but they were behind the election scam. They were behind the Dominion machines, and that they were partially responsible for the election, and that the White Hats somehow disturbed them on this last election, and they weren't able to get away with what they got away in 2020. uh, the envelope's so secretive for cabal only, right? Hey, Richard. So, but here's the thing: they want us to be involved in this movie. Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, is it? What was assassinated? You know, this is the story of the day, and whatever happened, was it really an assassination? We don't know. We are just the pigeons that are fed the breadcrumbs that the media throws us. And even without, like, I haven't looked at the mainstream media, I don't know if ever really, because I wasn't watching TV for many years, but I have no relationship to uh, except that, in the old days there were three channels. But this movie, this Matrix, this reality where you have to pay your taxes or you're going to jail, you have to have insurance or you're going to die, you have to do what the doctor says or it's all going to be over, and if you don't have the right car insurance, you'll be sued into oblivion. And you're on edge, because if you don't show up at your job, you won't be able to get your money, you won't be able to make your car payment, you're going to lose your car, you're going to lose. And it's all this fear-based matrix. Meanwhile, the matrix, the evil players themselves, now in my mind, I'm thinking, back in 2020, just arrest the bad guys and let's get on with it. Why don't the White Hats just arrest the Bushes and the Obamas and all these people, and let's get on with it. Let's liberate the planet. Yo, Ellie, that's where they want you to be. That's the movie. What's really going on? What's really going on? And now it's really, the pieces are coming together. There are 50 million, like, alien national people. I don't know if they're all illegal, but there are 50 million people that don't belong really in this country. 50 million. And they're sucking the life out of this whole, they're taking our money, they're laundering our money, they're putting into this green new scam deals that President Trump came out today, and he's like totally wiping out, piece by piece, the matrix, the car system. You have to have electric cars by, I mean, all this insanity. You cannot buy, like, I live off grid. I depend on my truck. All I want is a simple truck. I don't need all this gadgetry. But when I went to buy a truck in New York, it was like they were saying, "Oh yeah, and it was like looking in. I was like in the cockpit of an airplane. They have a computer for this and computer for that, and cameras here and cameras there." And I was like, this afternoon, I almost hit another car because I was looking at the camera. And then I said, wait a minute, what are you doing? Look at the mirror. And the mirror was like showing I was backing into a car, but I was looking at my cam. It's they made the world so complex and it's so unreal. But they diverted our attention. They made us think it was all like kind of like cowboys and Indians. It was good guys and bad guys. That's a bad example, but that it was all about this, a bunch of evil banksters and a bunch of evil medical, pharmaceutical people putting together this this depopulation event, and that was really what's going on. But what we didn't realize is that no, when I was living in New York, Daniela and I we lived next to JFK. We could see from one of our windows everything that was happening in the sky. At night, after sunset, there would be airplane after airplane. They weren't There was no, like, usually the flight patterns were such that like an airplane was over here and an airplane was over here, right? With what they would do after dark, there was airplane here, airplane here, and there was like a chain of airplanes coming in, and we thought, Daniel and I, well, it's the white hats coming into New York to protect us. No, this was wave after wave after wave of illegal immigrants coming in, being treated like kings, sucking the life out of our money, just like they sucked they sucked all our money into the black holes, into the dumbs, the deep underground military bases, into the pockets of politicians. I mean, who ever heard of uranium? Was it uranium one? I think, yeah. Uranium one. No, that was a slightly different thing. When they sent pallets of cash to Iran, who would ever heard? And you're thinking the government. Oh yeah, the government. They're fancy guys. They all went to Harvard and they Yale, and they really know what's going on, and we just don't understand it. No, they were stealing our money in plain sight, and they have been stealing our money in plain sight. It's just that we have been so busily involved in the movie that we miss the big picture. And what when President Trump says he's making a major announcement, you and I, who are seeing this in a slightly different light, in a very different light, are expecting him to say, where we go one, we go all. But he's playing chess with these evil ones who are all unified. And we don't see it because it seems so different. It's Hollywood, you got narco terrorists, you got Hollywood adrenochrome junkies, you pharmaceutical CEOs, you have medical experts from all kinds of big institutions, you have economists, that they're all in on this big scam. Call it liberalism, call it whatever, but it's this big, gigantic criminal cartel. It's not just a scam. This is organized crime being perpetrated against us. And it's a shell game. So while we're looking over here, we're studying the silver, we're watching silver go up, and we're getting so excited, we're peeing in our pants over the XRP price, and I'm gonna be a multi-million and all this other stuff, which is, who cares? Who cares? They're destroying the world through this other operation. Now, there was a post today that said the digital ID and we're going to be in camps. None of that's happening. They didn't win. The deep state has lost. They have lost this war. But what the Great Awakening happens to be on December 3rd, and I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. Yes, it is about these evil players, about the narco terrorists, about the cartels, but it is one gigantic criminal cartel that has been running the world. So when they say everyone's complaining, the Epstein files aren't out yet. We want to know, we're thinking like, well, Obama went to the island, he'll get arrested for sure. It's not on that level. They're saying the reason they can't release the Epstein files is because the entire deep state will be it's so pervasive, it's so evil, it's so widespread, it's so underground, it's so connected they're connected by this louche energy, this evil emotional connection they have to each other, which is beyond reason. They don't, like Rush would say, you can't reason with a liberal. They it has no place in their thinking. They're not even interested. It's an emotional thing. It's a spiritual war that they are fighting against humanity, against the good people of the earth. The chemtrails, add in the chemtrails for flavoring and everything else. But what I'm saying is that it seems to me that the awareness of the information stream has shifted in one day, and it could be because of our awareness. It could be our awareness is creating a different level of information, a different reality, essentially. I don't know, but we will see. But this is all good news. And at the end of the day, what we're not, and this was a frustration of mine also previously, was that people were like, well, the Great Awakening is coming, and I won't have to make my car payments, or my XRP, I'll be able to buy the yacht I've always wanted. This is like such bullshit. We're talking about and like the level of awakening is going to be beyond tsunami. It's going to be it's going to be torrential. It's going to be like the world we're going into will look nothing like this world. It will be so, there'll be no evil. The evil but the size of this evil force, the depth, the width, and the breadth of the swamp is something that so it involves all these illegal immigrants. It involves narco terrorists. It involves cheating at elections. It involves scamming every cent that you have. So that, and you're so, we're so conditioned to be afraid of not making a tax payment. Meanwhile, these guys are major thugs. We're not talking about like lightweight criminals. Oh yeah, I really needed a box of paper clips, and it was just out there, and I was just tempted, and we're talking about organized crime on a level that is so deep. It connects, Venezuela and Ukraine, and underground tunnels, and filth and evil and torture and child trafficking and narco terrorism and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, it seems to me that, and this was a post that I got, that we are being protected, and we are protected, and all the things that these evildoers have planned for us is going to nothing. They're not taking over. We're not going to be, our slavery is not going to be increased in that sense. We are being liberated. It's just the opposite. I can't even play a song, man. That I just don't understand how this could happen. But hey, I don't. What am I? Anyway, perhaps this is a better way to present it, instead of like share. Anyway, it is what it is, and obviously this is what the creator had planned for us tonight. So I can't really share so well. I can't share stories. I can't share anything, but I can share the the trunk of this tree, this massive shift in my and our ability to see that this is unbelievable, and the evil ones are being forced out of the shadows. And the idea that in a couple days the EBS is going to come and XRP is going to go to the moon, and we'll all have our cars. We'll all upgrade our cars, and we'll have new houses and all. That's just like that's trivial compared to a state of awareness where we'll all be like just completely unified and trust the plan. I don't know. I don't know if I've made any sense tonight, but it just seems to me that we're in a very different place than we were yesterday. And even though I go to the President Trump major announcements, first the major announcement was that the pharmaceutical prices were going down, which I could care less. But it's a major announcement. The major announcement under the major announcement was that we just crush big pharma. We just crush them, just like today with the announcement of Google password. Are you kidding me? Um, the Matrix is quirky. Is they're quirking out of they're out of control. Google password. So for in internet accounts. All right. So that's probably why. Oh, look at that! I got an arrow. Look at that! I could cancel something, but why can't I cancel? Why can't I respond to? They just play head games with you, mate. Yeah, you're saying with this thing. Yeah, it could be. Maybe they're trying to disrupt my ability to communicate with the good folks of the world. Are we going to have we are going to have peace of mind. That's the basic, that's really the bottom line. I mean, Melody nailed it. We're going to have peace of mind. My opinion, you don't have to wait. You can have peace of mind now. Because essentially the great awakening is not about it's not about the silver price. It's not about XRP. It's not about big pharma going down the tubes and the med beds coming out. It's about coming into a different level of awareness about the great awakening, about like as Q says, focus, ascension. They barely admit to using aluminum and chemtrails, right? They use others. Yeah, no, absolutely, Richard. It's disgusting. However, it could be that the presence of the chemtrails is the nail that's going to be turned around and put into their coffin, because the chemtrails may be the one thing that wakes up all the sleepers. I don't know, but I believe that there we are protected, and just as I was about to back into a car, which would have been a disaster for me, um, I got the thing, look in the mirror. We are protected. So that shows me that I am and we are protected, that the light beings are looking out for us, that we're not just, it's not a random world of evil and, things about to go wrong no matter what you do. And the chemtrails, I mean, the chemtrails really piss me off too. I'm not going to try to like play, like, oh, they have it under control. And I don't agree with my sweet Daniela. She says it's the good guys putting up the chemtrails because they don't last the way the other chemtrails last. But I'm not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on that particular subject. You're saying copper is good to buy, yeah, yeah. I'm just saying for me, I want to have I like to have weight. I like to have my I like to have a couple of rolls of valuable coins in my possession, and I can't. I I'm sorry, but I don't want to buy an ounce of silver. I just I'm used to having like rolls of silver, and I just can't. I can't go back. So yeah, I look for what.
Talk about the iota.
Right. So we look for things that are still affordable. So I bought a roll of copper, 100 ounces of copper, which for $100. We bought today for the first time, and this is something Daniela wanted me to share, that on Uphold they now sell IOTA. So we bought some shares. We bought some crypto IOTA. I did previously. We collectively, because we buy things together, we didn't have any IOTA, but that's one of the ISO 222 coins. And we only, we buy things that are, down. When XRP went below $2, I bought $100 worth. That's But I've been doing this, I've been doing this for many years, and this is just my way of doing business. I am slightly interested. Suddenly, I'm like kind of thinking about, if I do get when I do get some money, of possibly re-examining my relationship to the stock market, because it's been an interest to me. I've been out of the stock market for a couple of months. I was discussing when DJT went down. Now it's selling for $11, so it might be a really good buy. I think so. I think if I had some money, I would buy it at $11, because I believe in the Trumps. However, when things go down, yeah, but and this is part of your consciousness, but it shouldn't be your only thing. It's just like I realized it's at a point during this process of awakening that I really enjoy the thrill of investing, and it was something to keep my mind from despair. There were times in this journey in the last couple of years where I knew that if I wasn't busy all the time, I might lapse into some kind of despair, and I didn't want to do that. I said one of the things that I find really entertaining is investment, and you don't have to invest everything you own. You can just play with it, because it's an exercise. And like I've said before, I believe that your mindset is more important, and that your interests are more important than any specific thing. So that, in other words, that it's more important that you think of yourself as an investor than that you make a lot of money with your investments. That it's the mindset. So too with the LifeWave. I believe that you buy some LifeWave patches, and I'm sorry I can't share it, but it's Dr. Stacy. I'm sure the information is available to you. Call Dr. Stacy and tell her you want to participate in the pursuit of good health, because it's a manifestation process, just like we all want to know where we are in this timeline of the Great Awakening. We do want to know, and that's why we do research. What's going on? What's really going on? Well, you might think. I mean, I might think in a former self that. Well, why is President Trump coming out with this? Is a major announcement that they're redoing the whole car industry. Well, it is, because because President Trump, and it's just he's just so brilliant, because he sees everything as business, and it's so beautiful. But I was I didn't complete this thought, but for me, man, I would love to have a new car, right? I would love to have a truck that can haul that can haul a lot of things behind it, that can go up and down the mountain with no problems. I don't need all the gadgetry. I don't need the airbags. I don't need the computerized cameras. I don't need to know, like, in our Jeep, it tells you what the incline is. You can find out what the incline is that you're driving. Our greatest incline is now 16 degrees. That's going up close to my house. Um, what do you want me to see, from Mark? If you're awake, you should already have peace of mind, faith, trust, and plan. Yeah, you're saying copper is good to buy. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think so. I mean, my son years ago. You could take his baby. I'm getting some of these things. It's unbelievable that it's so quirky like this. But yeah, I think like I said, I like to buy things when they're low. I started buying XRP and XLM when they were 8 cents, 10 cents, and I still hold by that. I mean, we like to buy XDC because it's like 5 cents or something. But even better is to buy something that is 0.00005 5 cents. And I had, I knew about Hadara hash bar when it was selling for 0.00001, but the motherfuckers at Coinbase wouldn't accept it because it's not an acceptable cryptocurrency. Because the big boys hadn't made enough money yet, hadn't bought enough of it yet to give it to the peons out there. And I like Coinbase, I like the platform, but you guys are a bunch of schmucks. Let's be honest. What you did to XRP and what you did to all these things when they were really really great bargains that could have made multimillionaires out of people like me, we were not able to buy it. And in New York State, New York City anyway, you you can't go into Binance. You can't get I couldn't get to Uphold. So I was stuck with Coinbase. But yeah, I have some issues with Coinbase. I like the platform. I use the platform. It's a major thing for me, but they made it difficult for the regular peeps to buy certain assets like XRP back in the day. You couldn't buy it when it was around 40 cents. You had to go onto other platforms that were weird, to get it, and I did do that. But yeah, so I'm going off on a tangent. But silver and gold to me right now it's just out of my world. I had silver and gold, I sold it, I traded it for land. In my opinion, in my way of thinking of it, it is if I want some gold, I'll do some prospecting on my land. I know there's gold up here. I know there's silver up here. So it's just a matter. I don't have time right now because I'm, building a house. So, and that's gold too. That's an investment too. To build a beautiful house. And like I said, we're doing this for not a lot of money, and we put in four sliding glass doors separately as windows, and they are magnificent. It looks like $1 million house. It is $1 million house, but I'm not paying 40,000, 10, 30,000. They wanted $30,000 for windows that wouldn't look half as interesting as what I got for $50 or for a couple $100. So yes, this is the Great Awakening. We are now seeing, thanks to President Trump and the White House, we're seeing that it isn't a matter of just, when are they going to arrest Dr. Fauci, Dr. Mengele Fauci? Well, it's not about that. They have basically distorted the entire world by flooding America and other countries with people. So it's our warriors' duty to get it back, and we will get it back. And President Trump is just so dynamic in that respect. He's just like, I don't want these people in our country, and we certainly don't need to be spending every last bit, and that's why we're all so broke right now. Is because all our money goes to illegal immigrants so they can live in nice hotels and uh, whatever. But that's coming to an end, and it will come to an end in all countries as we reclaim our world. Is it going to happen fast? Is it going to be, suddenly the EBS is going to, and the trumpeters are going to say the Grand Awakening? No, but our consciousness is shifting very quickly, and the transformation, whether I'm aware of it or not, and I could be reading this wrong, but it seems to me like the Great Awakening is happening. And people are open. People are waiting. People are expecting. People are aware that something is up, and it's all for good. I won't even be able to cancel out of this thing. Gosh, I can't just press. I don't know what happened with this thing, but I don't think I am on Rumble. Anyway, okay, so I don't want to get distracted. What I am, yeah. I don't know if I can even go down on the thought stream. I guess I'd love to see flying cars. Yeah, we're going to see all that kind of stuff. It's good. It's going to be happening. There were people trying to fleece America, right? But they're on their way out. They are actively being. They're going into these Somalia camps in Minnesota. They're going to get rid of all these people. It's a done deal. Tom Homan and the best and the rest of them. It's and they're not worried about political correctness. The spells that they put on. Oh, you can't say that. You know, they put all these spells on us. I know for myself, one of the spells that I had to deal with was not saying, you know, you could not say anything bad about the first black president. If you did that, you were a racist. And I was around mostly black people. You know, most of the teachers I was around were not of the same race as me, and they were watching me, and they would, you know, if on the few occasions where I lost control and would make a comment like, is Obama black? What's, you know, I didn't know, you know, I mean, I, you know, I have a kind of a sense of humor and an innocence. I had, you know, I told the story that I had a student that said, you know, I accused him of plagiarism. Why did I accuse him of plagiarism? Because the essay or whatever it was that he handed to me was right off the internet, and I had it. I had already copied it down. You know, you could just put it in quotation marks and get the. I had the paper. I said, I you plagiarized. He said, you're just saying that because I'm black, and I said, you're black. I didn't notice. I mean, it sounds crazy, but I don't really I don't really think of people that way. I just don't. I don't. You know, most of my students were, you know, were African American or whatever, the you know, were black. At blacker than me, and but it's like, you know, if you know somebody, you don't think, oh, that's a black guy, you know. It's like, no, that's my friend, you know, Jamal, man. I mean, that's Jamal. You know, and he has a distinctive personality that, and it's not like, you know, whatever, man. I mean, I had a thug. Listen, when I was a chemistry teacher, I had a thug in my class who was Jewish and Russian and white, and I knew his father. But he was in with the rest of the thugs. They you know, he was just like another thugs. He was white skinned, whatever. Anyway, Maduro bent to the knee to Trump, is asking, yeah. So, but Maduro is, you know, what we're finding out about Venezuela is that they were involved in the election scam. So it isn't just narco terrorism. It's also that they were behind the Dominion machines. It's very interesting, and that's what I'm saying about the connection, the interconnectedness, kind of like the upside down from Stranger Things. Like they're all connected in a different dimensional way than we are. That you're hilarious, yeah. Um, we are back. Good sounds good. Sounds good. Picture. Yeah, I'm glad. I wish I could operate my, you know, I'm paying good money for this platform, but yeah, I guess it just worked out tonight. It could be the creepazoids don't want me to, but I'm proud and half Hispanic and half Irish, and some say I'm also halfway too, right? You know, I mean, what, you know, I mean, I grew up with all this stuff. You know, I was like, I don't know. You know, it's just, you know, the liberals want to peg us all as racists. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's obscene. But that's the spell they put us under. It's literally a spell. It's a satanic spell. Well, you can't say that because it's racist. I can't tell you how many times I was in the principal's office because something came out of my mouth that I didn't think was so offensive, and then the next thing I know, the principal is like putting a letter in my file. I had this guy in the union, Arthur. His name was Arthur. He's a Jewish guy, and he said he said, listen, man. He said, when I retired, I had a file like this also. You know, it's like, I mean, they just put letters in my file. I was always getting letters for like weird things that they accused me of. I'm like, I'm like, what are, you know, they would get a student to say that Mr. Weber said something, but generally my kids were they were in the pocket, man. We had it all down together. Whatever's on your end, I'm not looking. Okay, you're not seeing it. Good. You're seeing good stuff. Yeah, I'm seeing. All I see is my tabs in front of me, and I can't. It won't go away. And there's like a Chrome circle. Maybe it's Chrome after, but they're glitching. They want us divided, right? And we're all brothers and sisters. Yeah, they want us to think that y- you can, like you can, like there is such a thing as telepathy, right? And you can sometimes, I sometimes will pass a person, and I will hear them thinking, like, he thinks I'm, this or that. I mean, so I don't really get it very often these days, but because I look like a total kook in public. I wear overalls, and I just don't care anymore. But in the old days, when I was like semi normal, when I wasn't living off grid, and I didn't, like, it wasn't I wasn't, people are not sure if I'm a homeless person or I live off grid, or what the deal is with me. But um I just, Daniela used to like tell me, you can't wear overalls to town. And I put at first, so I used to I'd put on blue jeans and a nice shirt to go to town. And then, going to town to me now is just like, it's kind of it's something that you have to do. And it's not necessarily a pleasant experience, but there's certain things you have to go to get. Like, I broke my first uh, battery powered drill, screwdriver. It's like an impact driver, and I used it so hard that it broke. So today we got another drill, another impact drill for a Black Friday price. It just happened that way. You never finished high school. They couldn't bring my vibe down, not even as a kid. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Andrew D. Smith. I think I knew an Andrew D. Smith back in the day. Back in I went to this place called Hampshire College for a semester, and then I was like, "Hey, man, I ain't hanging out here." But yeah, they want us divided. I never. Ellie has been many things in many places. Yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to stay in one place. Um, I was such a contrarian in high school. They uh, but wowed them on a GI Bill in college. Yeah, yeah, I mean, listen, if you're on this channel, man, you're probably like me. You're probably been done a dozen different, at least a dozen different things, and it's they and people might say, like in the past, people say, well, wait, but you were a Hasidic Jew, and now you're living off grid, and to me, it's all connected. It doesn't make any, like this. What I'm saying about unity consciousness. It's all the same stuff, man. It's just like people. People are people, and people want to be people. People want to be loved. People want to be recognized. When you are doing business with somebody in the store, we went to Cal Ranch tonight to look for a cow tub for Daniela. Can I say that? No, you don't care. Um, in other words, we need a bathtub up here, and we think it's a good deal to buy one of those steel tubs. So we wanted to try out the tubs. We wanted to see if it was comfortable to lay in a tub, and there are many different sizes at Cal Ranch. So we had this nice guy, came, and I said, "Do you mind if we try out your tubs?" And he was like, "Nah." And so we moved. We turned the tubs upside down, and Danielle got in them, and she said, "This is good." And and I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Jacob." And as soon as I asked him his name, it's just like the man lit up like a light bulb. And it's so important that we do this when we work with each other. The cashier on our way out of Cal Ranch, just the nicest young man. We said, "What's your name?" And he just lit up. He was like, because what this it's not just a cashier, he's a human being, right? I mean, Sparky Brown always said, if you want to be respected, you respect everyone. I don't do it because I want to be respected. I could care less. But you honor people by knowing their names. And I the first lesson I learned from Rabbi Posner, Zalman Posner, was a very big influence in my life. He said, why did God ask Adam to name the animals? You think God didn't know their names? He said it's because he wanted Adam to have a relationship with them. And just like Adam, you cannot have a relationship with somebody if you don't know their name. So yeah, you like those tubs too? Yeah, I think they're pretty cool, man. I mean, I might actually line it with put like build a box around it and fill it with dirt to insulate it. I don't know, but it's the fact that it drains with a garden hose is very attractive to me as a kind of wannabe plumber. I mean, I have to do my own plumbing up here because no one's going to come up here. So I've been, I do it. I do it. I'm not, I'm not thrilled about it. I've also had to do all the electric up here, and I'm not, I'm not. It doesn't thrill me to have to do that, but I, I'm not going to call a contractor for, come to my house. I just, I don't have the money, I don't have the energy, I don't have the time, and these things can be figured out, especially with all the YouTube videos out there about how to, how to unscrew a light bulb. It's pretty easy. Used to dream of going to Australia. However, something bad keeps happening there. Yeah, I mean, I was heading for Israel, man, for years. For 25 years I wanted to go to Israel, and then it just never happened. So, whatever. My son went to Israel. That's just as good, probably better. Yeah. Anyway, I think I've just said, I'm not going to go on because I don't have all these bells and whistles that I like to have. That I could share posts and all that, but we're heading in a really good direction, and the swamp is being exposed. I mean, it's like hiding in plain sight. It's just like the airplanes that used to come in at JFK, but you think to yourself, they're just a few immigrants here, but they're saying that with ice out on the streets, you can drive around Los Angeles without any traffic jams. They go to school. This was another post I was going to share. They go to school and two-thirds of the students are not there. You have one-to-one attention with your teacher because there's so much infiltration by people who really don't belong here. And that is part of Jasara, that you cannot get your Jasara funds, and everyone will be getting funds if you're not in the country of where you belong. And there will be no dual citizenship. That's another thing they're doing. They're dismantling the deep state piece by piece. And I saw a post that said that the Doge cleansing of all this illegal, and now they're saying you can't get your welfare money if you're in a red state. It's not the welfare money; it's the SNAP program. I think it's called. The SNAP program in 21 states, 21 liberal states, will not be provided. I mean, that's going to cause some people to think about maybe we should go home now. I think there's going to be a lot of self deportation. I think we're coming into an incredible, like President Trump is just unfazed by the kinds of things that you and I might be worried about. He's just like, we're making money. We're charging them. We're standing up for ourselves. This is a great example for humanity. We just have to stand up for ourselves, not in a vicious way, not in a cruel way, but to say, hey man, I'm part of the food chain too, and I can't live like this. So last night we were talking about leaving the matrix, about you know forgetting about your credit cards, all that other stuff. Tonight we're talking about the fact that the world has moved into a new phase, in my opinion, and it doesn't have to be announced. It's like quietly ticking away in the background. And our business guided by God is booming. Pestilence is in the Bible, and there's much work in dem bastions with rats, right? Yeah, because Richard is a exterminator, and he says there's lots of rats in the cities. I think where do you live? You live in I don't want to say, but is going to make the rest of yeah. I think the desert's going to bloom because once they get rid of the chemtrails, we'll probably have rain again. We had a big rainstorm the other day, and I'm relentless about planting trees. You know, we're hoping we money keeps trickling in. And again, I want to thank everyone for supporting us with LifeWave. I'm sorry I can't post the information, but if you want to really like I said, you should be an investor. You should be working actively on your health, your fitness, your relationships. All these things are connected. You shouldn't. It's hard to think of things in isolation. But please, call Dr. Stacey. I'm telling you, these patches are amazing, and I'm not wearing one here because I'm wearing it in the appropriate place, which is on my left knee. I'm wearing my SP6 that Daniela wanted me to wear for my endocrine system, and my X39 is on the small of my back because I have without X39, I don't know if I could function the way I do. It's just it keeps me going. Richard, you're a star in my eyes, man. I want you to know that there was some point in my career, like every point in my career, where I'm totally broke, and Richard was like, he was so generous with me that I had to tell him to stop. It was just like he just wouldn't stop giving me, and it was so beautiful, man. But I just was like, but it's easier for me to accept that if you buy a Lifeway product, I do make money. Okay. I mean, it may not be like a donation, but it's like, maybe let's say I make 50 cents or 20 cents from enough people, and I'm providing them with good health because th- this is an amazing invention, this LifeWave thing. I was listening to, I wanted to play this tape where David Schmidt, the inventor, who invented this technology for the Navy SEALs 20 years ago, and they have all kinds of clinical proof about it. But he was looking at lobsters because lobsters don't age because he wants people to be young forever. And he found something in Genesis, in the gematria of Genesis, that resembled the DNA pattern in lobsters, and that has influenced his. He wants to put light. He wants to use light, like they have this machine that they're putting out. I don't think they've perfected it yet, but they have a machine that puts light into water, and you drink a little bit of this water every day. It's light filled water, and just like the patches put a kind of light wavelength into your body, back into your body. It doesn't put anything extra. And I find, for me, man, I mean, I'm building a house. Richard, I'm building a house, man, out here, and it's really coming along. It started with one cedar post, actually two cedar posts, and then yeah, I put in a clothesline for Daniela, and then I was like, okay, man, from that cedar post, I put in another cedar post, and my friend Sam gave us some big pine boards, and we connected the cedar posts, so I went around the whole RV with these cedar posts. I have like an kind of a weird octagonal boat kind of like structure around the RV, and then now we're filling in the back of the RV with these big glass sliding glass doors. I'm using them as windows, and the place looks amazing already, even though it's just really starting. But it's this is for me the creative thing that I like to do, which is design and build, among other things. And you know, it's a beautiful world. So they want you to think that the world is coming to an end, but I think it's just coming to an incredible beginning. And I'm so sorry that my this platform didn't really perform. LifeWave is one of those things. It's miracle technologies, right? It's cheap, simple, and works 100%. Thank you for saying that, because I can't write anything down. But it's an amazing technology, and I highly recommend that everybody get invest in it. We just keep. It took me 2 years to realize Dr. Stacy, I'm talking to Dr. Stacy every week, and I'm like putting on the LifeWave patches, and I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. And then a couple times I didn't have LifeWave patches, and I was like, well, I don't really feel as good. I don't feel that extra like electricity. And then I realized I haven't taken a nap in 2 years. I used to like die to take a nap. I was like, I got a nap, man. I can't. I can't. Just give me 10 minutes. I'll be back on my feet, and I would do that maybe 2 times a day. But that was my refuge. That was the only way I could survive in New York. But then after taking LifeWave for a couple of years, but I'm saying it's subtle, and yet it's if you're aware. And I wasn't aware. I wasn't like saying, well, is it am I but through the after a couple of years, I was just like, I'm completely like physically like I look at my body in the mirror. I'm 70 years old, and I'm in better shape than I was when I was 19. I don't have that little belly. I have I'm wiry, man. So yeah, it does. I think it does help you with your weight issues as well. But it's an amazing technology. I highly recommend everyone, and I really thank you for supporting us. So that when you sign up under Kabbalah Guru or you call Dr. Stacy and sign up, that helps us, and we become a network. We work together, and if you guys ever want to go into the business, please let me know, and we'll do some broadcasting together and get you some business. But and that's another thing I was thinking about with President Trump and Richard. I'm glad you're doing well, but a lot of rats in Democratic cities. But the the unashamed way that President Trump is the way he relates to money is so beautiful, because I have like a little bit of a guilt thing. Like I don't, I like I said with Richard that I had to ask him. I said, Richard, I can't accept any more money from you. It's just too nice. But I get a little embarrassed. But President Trump is like, no, man, it's like it's a good thing. We need to make money. We need to support each other. We've been bashed down. We bash each other down. Oh, you're a capitalist. It's like, yeah, I am a capitalist. Why not? What's the alternative? I'm going to go on welfare. I don't want to go on welfare. I don't want to bleed the system. I want to. It's a good thing to make money. It's part, and that's what Dr. Stacy's about. She had me read this book about success. About it's all a manifestation. It's all an attitude. So anyway, yeah, it's a great thing. So thank you for supporting us with LifeWave, and hard to nap when you are motivated to build your house. Yeah, but it's more than that. I'm just not tired anymore. I'm not. I just and I'm also doing what I love to do, which is, I'm loving this building out here, and I want to create a house that from all natural materials. I don't want to use any, pink foam fiberglass. I'll probably use some caulk to. But what we're gonna. I was telling Daniela, we both have a problem with insulation, and she prefers like organic cotton. Everything that we wear has to be natural. But I said, so why don't we, and but we go run through clothes, and I in particular, I rip up overalls like a banshee, like a madman. I mean, I go through a pair of overalls in a couple of weeks. It's all ripped up because I'm constantly on my knees. I'm constantly, doing stuff, and it wears out the fabric really fast. But I said to Daniela, let's just use the cotton and the natural fibers as insulation. We'll stick it in the walls, and to keep the cold out, and the cool in the summer. You look 50. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. It's just it's kind of natural, kind of. I do comb it back, and then Danielle says you got to fluff it up. So, but yeah, I had no hair in the old days. I was really kind of proud of that. Anyway, yeah, hard to nap. Mutually beneficial. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Richard. Man, you've done so much for us. It's outrageous. But yeah, have fun with the rats in the Democratic cities. Home Earth construction would be great with solar and thermal mass in mind. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we're experimenting. We're thinking about, like the, using earth and straw and I whenever I see somebody who looks like a Native American, I ask them, "Do you know any?" And sometimes once sometimes I get some really good answers of that they don't use they don't like to use lime. They like to use oyster shells. They cook oyster shells and mix that in with straw and dirt and rocks, and that's how they make. Like if I buy Daniela, if Daniela and I buy one of those tubs, we'll probably build fill it with earth around it to insulate it, so the heat isn't immediately transferred out of the tub. But it's such a beautiful world, man. It's just, I mean, you know you can be creative, you can be innovative. I mean, using um, what do you call it, sliding glass doors that were sitting in a heap for like 5 years. They were caked with dirt, and I got them for like $50 a pop. And I'm just like, hey man, you I'm going to show you a picture. We have four of them now. The house looks because you can see the outside. And I was thinking, I'm going to leave this with one more thought, and maybe you guys can figure this one out. But in the old days, like in the past, let's say 30 years, no, the past, let's say 50 years of my life, I always insisted on owning an aquarium. I was very big. It meant a lot to me because I had an aquarium as a little boy. My father taught me how to do it, and it's just part of me to have an aquarium. And there's something about looking through the glass at this aquarium. There was something there was something basic, and to the point that, like, when I was working as a educational researcher at Peabody Vanderbilt, I insisted on I brought in a fish tank. I had to have a fish tank on my thing because I had this feeling like, if as long as I have a fish tank here, they're not going to fire me. They ended up firing me anyway, but it was like a kind of stability to me to have this fish tank. And now I'm looking out, like I'm in the fish tank now. I've created a world where, like, I'm on in the center looking out through the glass at this beautiful mountainous landscape. I'm not really sure what this means, or why I had this realization today, but I was just the idea of looking through glass at reality. There's something about it that just, 'cause I don't have an aquarium and I have no desire. I basically, kind of like with drugs, I did enough drugs that I no longer need to take drugs. But I had enough aquariums where I realized at the end, this I had, well, like a 65-gallon tank or whatever it was. And I said, this thing is keeping me from leaving New York. So I ended up giving it away to a friend of mine who was a school teacher, and he gave it to the school. But there's something about looking through glass. Glass is a super cool liquid. It's not a real solid. It's a and if you live in an old house, you'll notice there are waves at the bottom of your windows, from really old windows. That's because glass is not solid, and it's the waves anyway. There's a movie where a guy is perspective, showing the perspective of everyone, including a fish in an aquarium. Yeah, there's also a great movie. One of my personal favorites is called Rango, and Rango was like a gecko or a chameleon, a lizard inside of a little tank, and he's riding the back. His people are moving, and he gets thrown out into this western landscape, kind of like the desert, like where I live. But it's a very cute movie that when I was a special needs teacher, it was the only movie we could get for free, so we watched it over and over again. Yeah, you grow up with three big aquariums. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But now we have praying mantises in our house, and tarantulas and all kinds of cool things. And we have the birds are a little confused by our glass. They were like trying to. They weren't sure what glass is. It's a big deal for the birds. So I have to be careful. I don't know how where that's going to end up, but there was a bird trying to go fly out through the glass, and then I chased him into where there's only wood, and he saw that it was solid, and he flew away. But yeah, and this probably is some kind of metaphor about the movie that we're watching. That the movie is, it's becoming exposed. It's becoming, we're seeing the director's chair. We're seeing that, like President Trump always says, central casting. These are all actors, a lot of clones, a lot of people with very sophisticated masks, like Joe Biden. At any rate, I hope I've been able to communicate without all my bells and whistles. Thank you for being here, Richard. It's such a treat to know that we're still connected. You're an amazing dude, man. And yeah, and everybody, just keep doing what you're doing. The Great Awakening is happening. Just celebrate it with joy and with creativity. And if you're alone and and you're not, flirt a little bit, man. Live. Find a woman, find a guy. You don't have to live like a refugee. Just be, oh well, I'm too old. No, you're not too old. There are plenty of people your age or younger or older. I mean, you don't know. I learned something new today about the waves in the window. You are correct. Yeah, that it's yeah, well, I was a chemistry teacher, so but it's called but I was also a building contractor, and I mostly did a lot of windows. But yeah, it's a super cooled liquid. Glass is a fascinating material. I mean, in fish tanks they use plexiglass. It's not real glass. In the old days, they used real glass, but I've had enough experience with glass. I put in a lot of windows when I was a building contractor to know that you don't force glass. You don't, like a piece of wood. You can hit it with a hammer if it doesn't fit. 100%. You can smush it into place, but you don't do that with glass. I've learned the hard way. I'm breaking. I don't know what. I don't remember the exact piece of glass that I broke, but somewhere along the way as a contractor, I remember kind of nudging a piece of glass and having it just go, so it appears brittle, even though it isn't actually a solid. It isn't actually a solid. But anyway, life is cool, man. So just keep digging it. I guess I made it. I went long, even though I was going to go short. But I think we're in a totally different stage of consciousness right now. I think this is the Great Awakening, and you don't have to. Don't look for specific points. Don't look for when's XRP going to be. I mean, it's just like you'll drive yourself nuts. Just focus on the joy of being you, and and leaving the matrix to whatever degree that you can. I mean, like Richard, sounds like you got a pretty good gig going, man. I mean, why would you leave that? I mean, whatever. Maybe I'll come and chase rats with you. I mean, it sounds like a good kind of a fun job. No, not really. All right. So anyway, yeah. I mean, yeah. We all do what we have to do. I worked for a chimney sweep for a while. I worked as a tree worked with chainsaws all day long. That lasted about 2 weeks. It was just brutal work. But yeah, you try different things, man, and never too late to have a happy childhood. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. You are Neo. You are the one. You are creating a reality, and the echoes of your existence, the ripples of your consciousness, you know, come out. They spread out like a tsunami. You're more powerful than you even realize, and may source be with you. May you realize that you are a creative. You are part of creation. You are the creator and the creation. And hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get my platform to work properly, and let's get out there with a big smile on our face. I don't even know how I'm going to have to shut down my computer. and rock the world. Nope.